Hello, my dear friends. There are some books that entertain you, some will surprise you, and then there are those rare books that quietly slip into your mind and stay there long after you have turned the final page. For me, The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by V.E. Schwab is one of those books. At first glance, the premise sounds almost magical. A young woman makes a bargain for freedom and immortality, but the cost of that bargain is unlike anything I have encountered in fiction. Everyone she meets forgets her immediately, completely, forever. And from that simple idea emerges one of the most beautiful yet heartbreaking and unforgettable stories I have ever read. The story begins in a small village in France in the early 18th century. Addie LaRue has never fit comfortably into the life that has been chosen for her. She is curious, restless, drawn towards the horizon. While others seem content with tradition, marriage, and routine, Addie longs for something bigger. She wants to see the world. She wants choices. She wants a life that belongs to her. But in her village, a young woman's future is rarely hers to decide. As pressure mounts for her to accept a marriage she doesn't want, desperation pushes Addie towards a decision that will change everything. On the night she is supposed to surrender the future others have planned for her, she runs away, alone and terrified. In that moment of desperation, she does something she has been warned to never do. She prays after dark, and someone answers. Not a saint, not a god, something older, something dangerous. A mysterious figure who appears from the shadows and offers her exactly what she thinks she wants: freedom, time, a chance to belong to no one but herself. Desperate and frightened, Addie still accepts. At first, it seems like a miracle. She is free. No husband, no obligations, no limits. But by the morning, she discovers the true price of her bargain. Nobody remembers her. The innkeeper who offered her a room forgets her face. A shopkeeper forgets her the moment after serving her. Every conversation vanishes the instant she leaves. Every connection is erased. Every introduction becomes the first introduction all over again. And suddenly, freedom becomes something far more complicated. Because what does freedom mean when nobody knows who you are? How do you survive when every door closes behind you? How do you build a life when every relationship disappears before it can begin? And so begins Addie's extraordinary journey across centuries. From the streets of 18th century France to modern day New York City, she drifts through history like a ghost. She witnesses revolutions, wars, changing cultures, new inventions, and entire generations rising and fading away, all while carrying a secret no one else can understand. She can remember everyone, but nobody can remember her. And yet, despite the loneliness of her existence, Addie refuses to disappear completely. She leaves traces of herself wherever she goes, a fleeting inspiration in an artist's mind, a face hidden in a painting, a story that somehow survives even when her name cannot. Again and again, she finds small ways to push back against the curse that has defined her life. But there is always one presence she can never escape, the dark stranger who gave her the bargain, the being she calls Luke. Patient, charming, dangerous. Over the years, the relationship becomes one of the most fascinating part of the novel. At times he feels like an enemy, at times a companion, at times something far more complicated. Their conversations stretch across centuries, becoming a battle of wills unlike anything I have read before. Luke waits patiently for Addie to surrender. Addie refuses, and between them grows a relationship filled with tension, loneliness, admiration, anger, and something that neither of them fully understands. But then, after nearly 300 years of being forgotten by everyone she meets, something impossible happens. One day, Addie walks into a bookstore. She meets a young man named Henry, and for the first time in centuries, someone remembers her. When she returns the next day, he knows her name. He remembers their conversation. He remembers her smile even. And in that moment, the entire story changes. Because after 300 years of solitude, Addie finally meets someone who sees her. And from there, the novel unfolds a beautiful exploration of love, memory, identity, and the stories we leave behind. What follows is a journey I won't spoil completely here, but I can say this. Few books have made me feel so deeply connected to a character's loneliness. Few books have painted time itself with such a beauty. And few stories have created a protagonist as unforgettable as a woman the world can remember. By the time I reached the final pages, I felt as though I had lived centuries alongside her. And perhaps that's the greatest achievement of this novel. It takes a woman nobody can remember and yet makes her impossible to forget. My heartfelt gratitude to the author of this book, V.E. Schwab. And dear friends, if you like fiction, this is one of the must read books. Go grab your copy and enjoy reading. Thank you very much.